On our planet, trees are the quiet architects of reality. They shape the air we breathe, the soil beneath our feet, and the horizons we wake up to every morning. Forests stretch across continents like green oceans, and for most of human history, trees have been so constant, so familiar, that we stopped questioning them. We see wood, leaves, shade. We assume simplicity. But beyond the places we live, beyond the parks, the roadsides, and managed forests, there is another world, a harsher world, where the climate pushes life to its breaking point, where soil barely exists, where isolation lasts for millions of years. And in those places, nature doesn't follow rules. It experiments. Trees twist into impossible shapes. They store oceans inside their trunks. They defend themselves like armed fortresses. They live for thousands of years. And one is not a tree at all, but an entire forest that shares a single identity. These are not background scenery. They are biological outliers, evolutionary rebels, survivors at the edge of what life can become. To understand them, we have to leave the familiar behind and travel to the most extreme environments on Earth. 600 miles off the coast of Yemen lies Socotra, an island so isolated that it has been called the most alien-looking place on Earth. For millions of years it evolved alone, cut off from continents, storms, and migrations. Nearly a third of its plant life exists nowhere else on the planet. And rising above its rocky plateaus stands one of the strangest trees ever discovered, the dragon's blood tree. At first glance, it doesn't look like a tree at all. Its canopy spreads outward like a giant umbrella flipped inside out, dense, flat, suspended in the air like a green cloud balanced on a single trunk. But this shape isn't aesthetic, it's survival. Rain on Socotra is rare. Instead, moisture arrives in the form of mist drifting across the highlands each morning. The tree's canopy traps that mist, condensing it into droplets that slide along its leaves and branches, feeding the roots below. The shade created by the canopy protects the soil from the sun's brutal heat, preventing evaporation and preserving every drop of water. It is desert engineering perfected over millions of years. But the real mystery lies inside. If you cut the bark, the tree bleeds. Not clear sap, not pale resin, but a deep crimson liquid, dragon's blood. Ancient civilizations believed it was magical. Roman warriors used it for healing. Medieval alchemists used it in rituals. Artists used it as pigment. Craftsmen used it to varnish instruments. Science now explains it as a chemical defense, a mixture of compounds that seal wounds and protect against infection. But the image remains haunting. A forest that bleeds red under the sun. Across the dry plains of Africa and Madagascar stands a tree that seems to defy logic, the Baobab. Its trunk is enormous, swollen, smooth, and massive. Its branches stretch outward like tangled roots, clawing at the sky. Legends say the gods planted it upside down, but its shape is not a mistake. It is a reservoir. During the rainy season, the baobab absorbs staggering amounts of water into its fibrous wood. Tens of thousands of liters stored silently inside the trunk. When drought arrives, that water sustains the tree for months, sometimes years. And it doesn't just sustain the tree. Elephants rip open the bark to drink. Birds nest in its hollows. Humans carve shelters into its interior. Some baobabs have become homes, storage spaces, meeting places, living architecture. They can live for centuries, sometimes millennia, watching generations rise and fall around them, standing still, but never passive. In the rainforests of Southeast Asia, a tree grows that seems almost unreal. The Rainbow Eucalyptus. Its bark peels away constantly, revealing fresh layers beneath. Bright green at first. Then oxygen touches the surface, and chemistry begins its work. The green turns to turquoise, then to blue, then violet, then orange, then deep red and brown. Because each section peels at different times, the trunk becomes a living mosaic of color, a map of time itself, growth written in pigment, a tree that records its own history on its skin. In a quiet corner of Poland, a strange grove stands. Hundreds of pine trees, each one bent sharply near the base, forming a dramatic curve before rising upward again. All facing the same direction. All planted in the 1930s. No natural explanation fully accounts for it. The most accepted theory points to human intention. Farmers shaping young trees to produce curved timber for shipbuilding or furniture. Then war arrived. Communities disappeared. Techniques were lost. The forest remained. Frozen evidence of a forgotten craft. Trees shaped by hands that never returned. In Utah, there is a forest that appears ordinary. Aspen trees stretching across the landscape, leaves trembling in the wind. But beneath the soil lies something extraordinary. Every trunk is connected. Every trunk shares the same DNA. This is not a forest. It is a single organism, Pando. A massive underground root system that has been cloning itself for tens of thousands of years. When one tree dies, another rises from the same network. One identity, one life form, spread across miles. Weighing thousands of tons, it is the heaviest living organism on Earth. A giant that has survived ice ages and climate shifts. But now, for the first time, it struggles. New shoots are eaten by animals before they mature. The balance is breaking. Even giants are not invincible. Deep within the Amazon rainforest stands a tree that does not welcome visitors. It does not invite animals to climb. It does not offer soft bark or safe shelter. Instead, it defends itself. This is the sandbox tree. At first glance, it appears almost aggressive. Its trunk is covered with thick, dark spikes, sharp enough to tear skin, strong enough to keep even determined climbers away. Monkeys avoid it. Large animals leave it alone. And that is only the first layer of defense. Inside the tree flows a toxic sap, a milky substance that burns the skin and causes painful irritation. If it reaches the eyes, it can lead to temporary, sometimes permanent blindness. For centuries, indigenous communities used this sap to poison hunting arrows. But the tree's most astonishing weapon is its fruit. Round, segmented, and seemingly harmless, the fruit dries slowly under the tropical sun. As it dries, pressure builds inside. The outer shell tightens, tension increases, and eventually the structure can no longer hold. Then, without warning, it explodes. A sharp crack echoes through the forest as seeds launch outward at incredible speed, faster than a sprinting animal, faster than most humans can react. The seeds can travel more than 40 meters from the parent tree. It is not a gentle release. It is biological force. Nature engineered a tree that reproduces with the mechanics of an explosion, a survival strategy in a dense forest where light and space are fiercely contested. In the rainforests of Central and South America, the ground is unstable. Mud shifts. Organic matter decays. Soil sinks and reforms constantly. For most trees, this instability is a challenge. For one species, it became an opportunity: the walking palm. Instead of growing directly from the ground, the trunk rises on a network of stilt-like roots, lifting the tree above the forest floor. These roots spread outward, supporting the tree like the legs of a tripod. For decades, explorers and scientists repeated a strange claim that this tree could walk. The story suggests that when sunlight shifts, when another tree falls and opens a gap in the canopy, the palm responds. New roots grow toward the light. Old roots, left in shadow, slowly die and decay. Over years, the base of the tree shifts position. Not in steps, not in motion we can see, but slowly, gradually, as if the tree is searching. Some researchers argue the movement is minimal, just a few centimeters across long periods. Others believe the stilt roots exist purely for stability and efficiency, allowing the tree to reach upward quickly without investing in a heavy trunk. But whether it walks or not, the walking palm challenges our assumptions. Trees may be rooted, but they are not passive. They respond. They adjust. They find advantage wherever they can. In Oaxaca, Mexico, in the courtyard of a quiet church, stands a tree that seems impossible. The tree of Tule. Its trunk is so massive that early observers believed it must be multiple trees fused together. No single organism, they assumed, could grow this wide. But genetic testing revealed the truth. It is one individual, one life, one continuous organism. Its circumference stretches over 40 meters. It takes dozens of people holding hands to fully encircle it. Its bark folds and twists, forming shapes that resemble animals, faces, and flowing patterns carved by time. Locals point out figures hidden in its surface: an elephant, a lion, shapes emerging from wood like memories trapped in growth rings. For more than 2,000 years, it has stood in the same place. Empires rose, languages shifted, civilizations changed. The tree remained. It drinks thousands of liters of water each day to sustain its massive form. Its roots spread deep and wide beneath the churchyard, anchoring it to the earth like a living monument. Not tall, not fast-growing, but immense in presence. A reminder that size in nature can mean endurance rather than speed.